Too sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jarrett Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. You can follow Twitter
if you feel like it.
@_JD Sports. Our personal Twitters are at the show's Twitter page.
Sure is.
So did you have a good weekend this weekend, Dwight? I mean, you know, we had a 9 o'clock game on Sunday. Did you catch any of that?
I watched a little bit of it.
That was some really bad football.
I watched it by default.
It was some really, really poor quarterbacking from both sides, I'm not going to lie. Worse one way than the other, and that way lost.
Miserable.
But, no, so, I mean, typical weekend, though, party a little bit, and just kind of...
it was cool.
Okay,
I was kicking it. It was a fun weekend.
Good to hear. See, I had a great Saturday, right, because I was able to sit back and relax for the first time in a long time and not worry about Notre Dame taking a loss, because that's usually what they do on Saturdays lately. So it was nice to be able, they didn't play. So it was like, oh, wow, it was a very nice feeling. It was great to wake up and watch college football. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed college football Saturday. It was good.
That makes sense. It's kind of like how I woke up on Sunday. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about Dallas.
But it's been fun Sundays for you lately. It hasn't been fun Saturdays for me lately. I was more excited because I'm done being tortured. You're tortured in a good way, because at the end of it you get to go to bed with a smile on your face, usually winning. I got
a quarterback to worry about.
You have two quarterbacks to worry about, but this is a better situation than having two bad quarterbacks.
This is true.
Which the Eagles in the first quarter were thinking in preseason that's what they were in, because Sam Bradford and Carson Wentz combined had 5 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of that game. After that, both played fairly well. More Wentz than Bradford. Honestly, I think more of the Eagles' defense played extremely well that game. Not saying that the Vikings' offense is juggernauts or anything, but the Vikings' defense is. And for the offense to score 2 touchdowns, and yes, I know it was kind of a measly game, back and forth. It was a close game there for a while, and then the offense scored the 2 touchdowns, and it became not a close game. But the offense did their part to win that football game against a really good defense. So it was good to see from the Eagles' perspective. They got to start being able to do things like that on the road, which we'll find out because they're in Dallas this week, right? Yeah, that's in Dallas. So we'll find out if they can beat a good team on the road. They've done it at home twice, which is awesome. And Carson Wentz looked good, other than he threw the first quarter. Obviously, those first 4 drives obviously were not anything super special. Some were really bad. When he threw into triple coverage there, in his defense, let me put it to you this way, and somebody pointed this out to me, but in his defense, I came to this conclusion. There was only 3 guys going downfield, and all of them were triple covered. Okay, there was 9 guys in coverage, and there was only 3 guys downfield. Literally Hold on, I agree, because somebody pointed this part out to me. People used to get on Donovan McNabb for throwing it at receivers' feet all the time. Well, then that would have been a great time for Carson Wentz to step up in the pocket and throw it at the receiver's feet instead of throwing it into the triple coverage where it can get intercepted like it did. Other than that play, he had the fumble that wasn't a fumble early, and he had another pick. But I don't think the first pick was solely on him. The offensive line, that was one of the only bad plays they had. They came up huge. I said that was the biggest part. If they have a good offensive line, the Eagles I think can beat anybody. But if their offensive line isn't that good, I mean, it literally comes down to those couple positions, and they were really good on Sunday. So they went in there, they took care of business. It was good to see.
They did. I'm actually kind of surprised. I had Minnesota's defense, especially your defensive line, I had them destroying Philadelphia. So the fact that Philadelphia was able to pull out in the end, regardless if it looked good or not, honestly, I thought it looked miserable, especially offensively. But the fact that they were able to keep
offensively,
Minnesota...
it was slow in the first half. The second half, they came out and they did their part. But my thing is, the Eagles knew, the Eagles coaching staff, right? The offensive staff before they traded Sam Bradford, they had to know every strength about Sam Bradford and every weakness about Sam Bradford. So I think going into this game, they knew how they were going to attack Sam Bradford. They went in there, they told Jim Schwartz exactly how to beat him. And what they did is when 4 guys didn't work, they brought 5. When 5 guys didn't work, they brought 6. When 6 guys didn't work, they brought 7. To the point where they were bringing 8 guys at one point, and every time Sam Bradford dropped back to pass, he was just getting absolutely hit, and it took him completely out of his game until the last 3 minutes. I think they scored a touchdown in under 2 minutes. He started slinging the ball a little more. He adjusted finally, but it was way too late in the game, and I think that was more of the Eagles knowing how to beat Sam Bradford than it was the Vikings and the Eagles matching up mano-a-mano type thing. I think the Eagles just had that edge game plan-wise, and I think that had a big part to do with it. Also, I think the defense stepped up. The Eagles offense stepped up and did their part in the second half. That's a really tough defense to play like that. They're turnover machines. I mean, they have an offensive. I think a defensive touchdown every game except that Eagles game now.
Honestly, if I'm being objective about it, I don't think that your offense is a story. I think this year, especially
easily the Eagles defense. You know that.
I wasn't going that. Especially the past 2 weeks, I think your special teams have been phenomenal.
Yeah, no,
you're the only team out there that's consistently been scoring on special teams.
They're the only team in the league to have a kick return for touchdown.
And it's been huge.
Smallwood and Huff. Thank you, Chip Kelly, for Josh Huff. Huh?
That's the only thing he ever did for y'all. But in the 2 weeks, granted it didn't calculate a win the last time, but it kept you in the hunt at least in both weeks. So you gotta give credit to their special teams in particular. I don't like their defense. I don't care what they're ranked defensively. At one point they were number 1 in the league, which who actually buys that? Nobody, not even Philly fans.
Like the defense? You still like they're consistently
I'd say they're within the top 10. I don't think that they're within the top 5 like they actually are statistically. I just don't buy into them. I think after the year, closes out that they're going to level out to the talent level that they are. But you got to shout them out. They did what they were supposed to do this week. Yeah. Granted, what I was going to get at is that honestly, dude, this year it seems like it's the year of the mediocre quarterback. We got the Sam Bradford out here. He's doing just enough, but he also has the defense that's backing him up. It's really the year of the mediocre quarterback. Hell, you can even look at Dak Prescott, a guy that wasn't supposed to succeed. He's a 4th-round draft pick.
But I understand what you're saying. They're both doing the same thing. I wouldn't say either is mediocre, but I know exactly what you're saying. They're dinking and dunking. They're game plan quarterbacks. They're Mark Sanchezing it before Mark Sanchez was throwing a bunch of interceptions.
Right. They're quarterbacks that aren't clearly long-term. Well,
you could say Tom Brady's a system quarterback, though. Honestly, it's just whoever plays within the system the proper way, and they're doing that the right way. I do. I do. I think that yes, I think there is something to Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady being better than most other quarterbacks. I'm not saying they're athletically not better than I don't know, Brock Osweiler, but of course they are. But my point is I think that everybody they're doing the best they have with the plays that are called, and not turning over the ball is usually the main consistent of this thing. The reason Tom Brady is better than everybody else is because he turns the balls over less than everybody else. Look at his team; they struggled in the first half of the game against the Steelers, a game that everyone's like, well, if Roethlisberger was in, they would have lost. They still almost scored 30 points and they strugred. So
this is what I was getting at. This is what I'm getting at with the whole mediocre quarterback thing. We got the Osweiler. We got Sanchez.
Trevor Siemian.
We have Vikings. Drawing a blank.
Bradford?
We got Sam Bradford. Even Dak Prescott, not going there. Carson Wentz, he's a rookie. That's why I'm putting him in that category. He could be great long term, rookies.
Jay Cutler, I got you.
No, he's not in that conversation. But
you think Jay Cutler's mediocre?
No, I think he's trash. I think he's below mediocre, and he was on the bench, so he doesn't count. But I feel like that. Those 4 or 5 teams, they're in a situation where the quarterback isn't great, but they're just acceptable enough that the rest of the team can carry them to get these victories. And I think that's what Sam Bradford was. Matthew Stafford, he's another quarterback. He's maybe a little higher than mediocre, but he's not great.
I agree with what you're saying. I think he's in the top 15.
When I say mediocre, I'm saying that it's a situation where it's not.
You're looking between 15 and 20 as 15 and 25 is mediocre. I understand what you're saying. Then 25 to 35 is the bad quarterbacks in the NFL.
And when they look good, they look very good. But when they look bad, they look horrible.
I'm following you.
But
I don't think Dak has ever looked horrible, and I think that other than for about 3 plays, I think there's literally been about 3 Carson Wentz plays that I can pull out to say that he looked horrible, and I think the rest of you looked just fine. But
I'm saying that because I think it's a preventative statement on my part, because I feel like eventually Dak's going to get his reality check, just like Carson Wentz. He had his 2 weeks of reality. Hey, it's bound to happen.
Well, the Eagles' defense is going to be pretty tough this week. Hopefully, they can stand up to the test of the offensive line in Dallas. That's obviously that is the key to this game.
We'll get into that.
We're definitely going to get into that. But I would say back to where we were originally at with the Vikings. Do you think like you were saying with all these mediocre quarterbacks,
Yeah.
do you trust more of a Green Bay to win that division then because they have an Aaron Rodgers? Like my overall question was going to be, do you trust more of like Arizona, Seattle, teams like that have Russell Wilson, Palmer, and like Green Bay, you could throw them in there. Do you trust those teams more than you trust the Eagles, Dallas, and Minnesota right now because of their quarterback situation?
I would say right now I would trust a Minnesota and a Seattle more so because they have at least, especially Seattle, they have more of a stability.
Do you trust Minnesota over Green Bay more because you were saying about the mediocre?
Yes, because their defense is so incredible.
I was just saying,
if we're just talking offensively,
If you're just talking player, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
If I'm talking player, then Aaron Rodgers is number one in the NFC by far.
Okay.
But it's his team around him that isn't any good. His defense is But Minnesota, their defense is so great, and they pulled out last year.
Why is it acceptable for Aaron Rodgers, but it's not acceptable for Andrew Luck?
I'm just saying.
His team sucks around him, but it's acceptable. But for Andrew
because
Luck,
Aaron Rodgers is still great.
Andrew Luck's not?
His turnover says differently outside of this week. He had a very good week.
His record says better than Aaron Rodgers this year.
Well, yeah, every dog has his day. I mean, he had a year. Congratulations. Longevity, though. Who you going to take longevity-wise?
He has his first 2 years in the league, 10 wins.
Philadelphia doesn't have Carson Wentz. Are you taking Aaron Rodgers or are you taking Andrew Luck?
I'm taking Andrew Luck.
Disrespect. Disrespect.
I have no problem with Aaron Rodgers, and he's definitely up there as definitely a top 5 quarterback without
Lord have
question.
mercy.
But you're telling me if you're asking me somebody if you're telling me I have them to draft to start my franchise right now, I say it all the time. I say it all the time. If I started my franchise right now, Andrew Luck would easily be my first pick.
Why?
10 wins first year, 10 wins second year.
Great.
6 wins the year after because he was injured. 9 wins the year after. 7 of them were responsible of him. He did it with a broken spleen and a separated shoulder.
I can respect that.
He's going to take his team to the playoffs this year.
Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl.
Okay, but just because he won a Super Bowl, then he's better than Andrew Luck? No way.
No one, way. Yes, and 2.
No way.
Statistically, he is definitely way better.
James Jones is not better than Carmelo Anthony.
I wish we had a stat boy here to turn to because I tell him to bring up the stats. Aaron Rodgers is come on now. Come on. Stop. I don't even need his stats. Look at the eye test. Are you kidding me?
You were saying about...
Andrew Luck is a solid replacement. If you can't get Aaron Rodgers, and if you said, I got Andrew Luck, I'm not mad at that. But if I'm telling you to pick one, really?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Especially for the next 10 years.
Where's Chris Carter? I know you don't got a job, brother. Come on, man.
No, man. Andrew Luck is... Andrew, and a lot of GMs around the league agree that Andrew Luck's the best quarterback in the league right now.
They said the same thing. Yeah, they're the same GMs that put him in Canton when he was a rookie. Congratulations.
Anyways, but I'm saying Aaron Rodgers gets the pass though because he has a bad team around him. What you said,
he's still playing very well.
But you never give.
And he still wins.
But you never give. Andrew Luck doesn't win. That's what I'm trying to explain. He had 10 wins his rookie year, 10 wins the next year. He was injured, so they had 6. He had 7 the next year because while he's injured, and right now they're leading their division. He has how many 4 wins on the season.
I hear what you're saying, bro. I had them going to the Super Bowl last year because I believed in him and the talent around him.
They don't have talent around them right now.
Oh, and it fell apart last year, and it's going to fall apart even harder this year. But I think if you're asking me today, between the 2 teams, Green Bay or Indianapolis, what do I believe in more? I'm going with Green Bay just because
I don't believe in either of them.
I'm going with the Aaron Rodgers effect. I'm taking that the slight edge because I think Aaron Rodgers
I don't think Aaron Rodgers add any more to a football game than Andrew Luck does. I think they're both on the elite level. I think there's 5 quarterbacks.
You put way too many people on the elite level.
No,
you don't it's kind of like the wide receiver situation. Like there's the elite, and then there's
I'll
elite.
give you 5.
There's
top 5.
There's like elite.
I'll give you top 5 is my elite.
Hold on. There's elite, and then there's like elite A.
5
you always put people on elite. You don't understand there's an A, but like a B beneath that.
My top 5 is always elite, and then it's 6, 7, 8 are not.
Okay,
elite.
top 5 quarterbacks. Name them.
Brady, Roethlisberger,
Yep.
Luck, Rodgers. I mean,
Luck, no.
You could rotate right now. I would give it to Matt Ryan if you're talking about this season. But I mean, honestly, if you're talking about if you're just basing it and you're telling me to draft, I'm taking Cam Newton.
Can't believe you haven't named Roethlisberger. I'm going Brady.
I said Roethlisberger. I said Brady. Okay. I said Brady. Brady, Roethlisberger.
Brady, Roethlisberger, Rodgers.
Yeah, and then I had Rodgers, Luck, and Cam. If you're or you could rotate Matt Ryan in there because he deserves the respect for the season.
If anything, Andrew Luck might be 5.
See, that's what I'm saying. But
I don't think that one adds more value
than the next. That's what I'm saying.
I take it back. I go Brady, Rodgers. You gotta have. Christ's sake, I just drew a blank. Roethlisberger. Thank you. Breeze. He's still an elite quarterback. You put him. You put him behind.
But I think he would be behind Cam, Matt Ryan. And
okay, well then,
right
you know what? I'd agree with you. If Cam's in a better situation, I'd put Cam 5, and then maybe Luck will be 6.
But I think that if Cam was in the same position as Luck right now, the Colts wouldn't be doing any less than what they are doing or any more than what they're doing. I think that if Rodgers
they'd still be mediocre.
Right, but see, that's what I'm saying. But they have more wins than Green Bay. Like they're not as You're saying the Aaron Rodgers effect, but that Andrew Luck is literally doing it better. Anyways, Atlanta playing San Diego. Atlanta had their heart ripped out twice at the end of the game. This time it was their own fault. Do you agree with him going forward on 4th down and overtime?
Negative. I thought it was stupid when I saw it. I thought it was stupid afterwards. I don't care. This was a situation we talked about it so much last year. Like, yeah. And when it works, it looks very good. Mm-hmm. But I always say, and I said it on the show last year, and particularly because it happened a lot, I said, but if he fails, it looks horrible. Yeah. It's like the Jack Del Rio thing in Oakland. Yeah, it worked out and it looks really good, but when it fails, he looks stupid. In Atlanta, come on. First of all, you weren't even at the 50. You were on your own, like 45?
46, something like that.
In overtime? No.
All right.
No. Horrible play calling. Horrible. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You don't, okay, I get it. You clearly don't trust your defense in that situation.
But you have 2 plays to get 1 yard and you can't get 1 yard.
Let's
you have 2 plays to get 1 yard and you can't get 1 yard. Do you deserve to win that game?
No, but who are you giving to in that situation?
I think he felt the same way that you do.
Matty Ice isn't getting over that goal line.
He gave it to Freeman, but Freeman was busting off 4 yards.
Freeman isn't getting over that. That's what I'm saying. Who on Atlanta would you expect to be able to get
what they
that?
should have done is run some slants or something on 4th down instead of handing it off. But anyways, okay.
If you have Marshawn Lynch, if you have Ezekiel Elliott, if you have a power back that can push the line, then maybe it's okay.
If you have 2 plays to get 1 yard, if you go into thinking, I know what you're saying. Honestly, I'm not against.
If you don't get on 3rd down, you don't deserve to get on 4th. Kick it.
I'm not against the call on the basis of they weren't stopping you all day, and you weren't stopping them all day. The second half they stopped you pretty good, but in the overtime they weren't stopped. You removed the ball pretty well on that drive.
Dude, if anything.
You haven't stopped their offense in like 5 drives. I understand his logic. I'm with you.
I understand.
I think I punted away. I really do. I think I play scared as a coach. I think I would always take the points and punt.
I tell you what.
I really do. I think I would play so scared as a coach. But I don't really want to knock this guy for playing scared as a coach because I think that I understand where he was coming from in that exact moment. And
if the field position was a little better, then maybe I could just tolerate it and be like, okay, fair enough. But come on, man. At your own 45, that means what? The opposing offense has, 10 yards to get to a field goal range?
If you punt them within the 5, right? They've just moved the ball up and down on you all second half. All they did was move the ball.
But then let that happen. Let that happen. Then let it be on your defense. Then let it be on your defense.
But your defense, if you don't
instead you're still letting it be on your defense by giving them shorter field.
I know what you're saying, but if you don't trust your defense to get 93 yards, then obviously you know what I mean? If you don't trust your guys...
I get it, but
I don't
like the call. Yes, absolutely. I just don't like the call.
Like I said, I probably punt, even if how bad my defense is playing. Right. I play scared.
Right.
I probably punt.
If we're playing Madden and I have the ball...
I probably punt.
If you have the ball, you're punt. If I have the ball, at that...
Right.
If we're over the 50, if we're on their 45, 40... Maybe. I might go for it.
I know. I see what you're saying.
Fine.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, but... on your own 45, come on now.
Well, Philip Rivers, two win streak. They're coming back from the dead.
No, because the team as a whole is trash.
And what about Atlanta?
I like Philip Rivers a lot, but I mean no.
What about Atlanta now, falling 2 losses in a row?
They're starting to get into that reality check. Offensive, this is the same story with Atlanta that's been for forever.
The NFC's tightening up a little bit.
That's the one edge that you could give them is that the NFC is so
way better. But
the NFC is mediocre.
I think it's deeper. I think it's way better. I think it's the way better conference. I think that you have...
How?
I think that Green Bay...
It's about your mediocrity.
Go look. I think that the NFC East... See, I see what you're saying with the NFC...
powerhouses are in AFC.
Really? You think so? I think that...
Without a doubt.
I think that New England is the only real powerhouse.
New England, Pittsburgh, when Ben comes back.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you Pittsburgh.
You could even... even the teams that aren't even powerhouses, I would still go Baltimore. I would still go Cincinnati. I would still go...
Over what?
Denver.
Over Minnesota, Philly, Dallas, over...
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Oh, well, Denver, yes. But you would take Baltimore over all of them?
history says yes, and their defense is always respectable, and Joe Flacco is always a respectable
Speaking
quarterback.
of New England and Pittsburgh,
definitely.
I kind of threw it out there, so we don't have to say too much about it. The only reason I wanted to bring it up is because Tom Brady is now 0 interceptions through 3 games. If you had to pick an MVP, would he be on the ballot?
He's absolutely on the ballot.
Would you pick him?
Who else is in the conversation?
Definitely Zeke. You don't think Zeke? I think Zeke's in the conversation. I think that...
But he won't get it, so I mean, scratch his name off. Just because he's a rookie, he won't get it.
Yeah. Matt Ryan was going to be in the conversation, but I mean, I think he would lose to...
The NFL is so... It goes back to the whole mediocrity thing. Like, the NFL as a whole is so mediocre at this point. It's Brady and...
Well, the good football never happens till after... The best football always happens after Thanksgiving. We know that. Everybody knows that.
The fact that we can't name a second candidate for MVP race...
For MVP?
Pretty horrible.
Because, no, I think that means that's how open it is.
That's how mediocre it is.
Maybe. Or maybe the defenses are finally figuring out this spread offense. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe we thought all the points in the world were going to be, you know what I mean? Maybe defenses are starting to figure out how to defend the spread offense, which it goes in cycles. That's how it happens. Trends.
I mean,
it's a copycat league.
I get that, but I mean, well, we're talking about MVPs, and we're saying Tom Brady. What he was 4 games. Excuse me, he was suspended for 4 games, and he's already a front runner.
Yeah. Because he hasn't thrown an interception over 700 yards.
No, that's because he has
12 touchdowns in 3 games. 9 touchdowns.
Not even close. The conversation isn't close. He's MVP right now.
So they beat Pittsburgh. Miserable. They had a slow start.
As expected.
They had a slow start, but they beat Pittsburgh. Landry Jones didn't look miserable, but he didn't look good.
Right.
Didn't find Antonio Brown as much as he probably should have. That's how you win your football games, by the way, if you're him. Eli hasn't learned how to hit Odell Beckham, and he's had him for 3 years, so I don't really blame Landry Jones for not knowing how to do it, you know.
You mean the great?
Huh?
The great Odell Beckham? You said Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like...
Yeah, well, I'm just what I'm saying. But, you know, he has a quarterback who hasn't really found him all the time for over 3 years, so Landry Jones might not find his guy, you know, first start of this season, I think only 7th of his career. Now... That's a tough task to do, even if you are playing with the second best team in your conference, it's going to be hard to beat the Patriots. So
it's not shocking whatsoever. It would have been a heck of a game if Ben would have been in it. It would have been very competitive, I think. But the fact that Ben wasn't in it, it's not shocking. I had Pittsburgh winning this with ease, and that's exactly what happened.
So you're talking about bad football. I don't think that game was a bad football, but you're talking about bad football. I think
it's a lot of bad football.
Baltimore playing the Jets, that there was a lot of bad football in that game. The Baltimore offensive line is just like they're trash. I mean they haven't protected Flacco at all these last 3 games. I'm surprised they've kept it as close as they did. I feel bad for Flacco. He's just getting absolutely demolished back there right now.
I haven't heard a lot of him this year.
My bigger thing is not even the game itself. Okay, Geno Smith gets hurt. Okay, game ends. Fitzpatrick, they win the football game.
I know where you're going with this, and that makes me happy.
He said that the owner didn't believe in him, the GM didn't believe in him, and the coach didn't believe in him. But he's glad the players believe in him, because that's how they went out and got that win.
Don't set your dumb ass up.
Tom Brady has as many touchdowns as you do interceptions.
Dude, that is his statement.
What is there to believe in?
His statement. And you know what? I was all for him before the season started.
I was a Ryan Fitzpatrick fan.
I kept saying
we both bit that. We both bit the apple.
We
man.
did. That's where we fucked up. That poison apple.
Stupid.
It's fucking.
He's an idiot.
Snow White out here.
Like what is that?
What horrible. That is everything that is wrong with this society. You feel like. By you making that statement, you feel like I'm empowered.
How am I supposed to believe in him?
Well, everybody's against me. So, when this person and this person and this person, when they don't believe you, all you have at yourself is that man in the mirror, like Michael said. It doesn't fucking matter. You play like a bum. Why should they believe in you? And you know what? The owner came out. I think it was the owner.
No, it was the coach.
Was it the coach that came out and said, "Well, I hope he looks better"? Something about his turnovers.
He said, "I'm glad I'm glad we made him mad if that's what it takes. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, it doesn't really matter.
As he should. Ryan Fitzpatrick, shut the hell up.
Maybe you're not even turning the ball over.
You're not even a quarter of what you were a year ago, which was a respectable quarterback. And you played so well last year that I was like, yo, the Jets are stupid for not signing you. The Broncos are stupid. I kept saying the Broncos should get you. Shout out to the Broncos because they didn't. They saved a lot of money that way.
We'd have been on that Madden life, and we'd have been week one playing with Fitzpatrick. Like, what is this? Who is this? Like, we'd have put the controller down. Like, X, start over, new franchise. Like, this is
restart.
Bad. Yeah.
Shut up, Brian Fitzpatrick.
So I just wanted to call him out for that, for just being an idiot. That was stupid.
He's a bum for that.
That we both agree.
Does he prove himself moving forward? I don't think so.
No, neither do I.
I don't think so.
Neither do I. I don't see the Jets being like a powerhouse in the AFC East, not with the way New England's playing.
No.
Miami just gained a game on Buffalo. Buffalo plays New England this week. There's a lot of web there, and they're at the bottom of it. I don't see them getting their way through back to the top and making a playoff spot.
And it's a shame because it seems like every few years the Jets is like, oh, we should start believing in them, and then the very next year they just kind of fall over.
So I got a question.
That's what just happened.
Yeah, well, okay, quickly before I get to that, what I was about to get to. You were saying about the Jets back and forth thing. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that is their defense is always good, but they have to figure out how to consistently keep it going on offense. And they start getting a little bit on offense, but Forte had a big day, but they didn't put up big points. You know what I mean? They got to figure out how to translate these yards that they get into points.
And even this year, you was talking about their defense. The defense hasn't been spectacular.
Yeah, I agree. They have a lot of
injuries. To years
and
past,
as much as I love Revis, he's getting old. I mean, he's just getting a little older.
Let's not even talk about how much he's been exposed this year.
Getting a little older, so
it's time for a cut.
Now,
terrible.
The thing I want to ask is, we talk about the theme of this show so far has been bad football. Is it good defense, or was it bad football on Sunday night with the Seahawks in Arizona?
That's an example of horrible offense.
It's a 6-6 tie.
That's what's crazy. It was like that. Remember that time you came to my house one day and it was a Thursday night game. It was the 49ers and I can't even name who it is. But and it was especially the first quarter where it was punt.
49ers in Arizona.
That's what it was.
And Arizona ended up putting up 33 in the second half.
Right, but up through the first quarter, I told you came to my house, I said, this is a situation where it's bad defense, or good defense.
Yeah.
It's a situation where it's just absolutely horrible offense.
Yeah.
And Sunday night,
bad offense.
Oh my God, absolutely horrible offense. It wasn't even a situation where, the defense is really good to shut it down. No, it's horrible offense, not executing, and not pushing the ball.
6-6
You can tell when there's a good offense out there just matching up against a very good defense. This was a situation where the offense wasn't connecting.
I felt like I was watching Alabama LSU from a couple, 12 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. It just
miserable, disrespectful. This is why the ratings are so trash. Because
both kickers miss easy field goals to win the game.
Back in April or May, whenever the hell the NFL schedule comes out, on paper, this looked like it was going to be a very competitive game.
This is actually one of the better primetime games that wasn't a good game,
right?
But it was one of the better scheduled primetime games.
Especially on paper,
the thing
it looks
with the
like
ratings
it's going to be very
after the
tight.
politics thing ends, I think the ratings will go back up. Once every 4 years, the ratings go down like this, and they say it's a little extra this year because whether you like him or not, Trump's polarizing, and they're saying that has a big deal with it.
I don't even think it has anything to do with the politics.
I think that's a lot. I do. I think you're right.
I do buy into this whole bad football thing because the primetime games have been absolutely miserable.
Well, the bad football's coming from the less practice, the less contact in the off season and whatnot.
Whatever it is, the games have been miserable.
Yeah, I feel bad for people who had actually, as a Seahawks fan or an Arizona fan, that actually sat there and watched every minute of that. I was able to turn it and watch other things, and I kept going back to it. And pretty sure there was hockey on. I was watching. I forget, it was Sunday.
I don't even remember what I was doing. I was flipping back and forth between that and something.
No, you know what? I was watching a movie and I had it on in the background. We were watching a movie on the laptop.
That's horrible.
It was. But
I don't even. What was I doing? I don't even. I was flipping back and forth between that and. There wasn't baseball on. What the hell was I watching? I was watching something else.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That's how miserable it was. And then I just said, forget it, I'm going to bed. It wasn't even halftime, and I was like, I have no desire to watch this. It's horrible. The NFL, I don't know what they need to do. Maybe hold off on the schedule a little later. I don't know.
Well,
I really don't know.
Isn't it after Thanksgiving the subject to change for Sunday Night Football? Every Sunday night game, it becomes every Sunday night primetime game becomes the game of the week, which is a good thing.
And what's crazy is that I even realized that they did that until you told me about it last year. But
yeah, they've been doing that for about 5-10 years now.
Yeah, I think it is.
Ever since NBC took it over. That happens right after Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. So at least we'll have that. But
hopefully, but I mean that goes back to the whole mediocre football. Like, what do you turn to? What is great outside of Tom Brady right now? Can you name something that's great that's not named Tom Brady?
And I'm not saying the Monday night game.
You can't.
Before the year, like this week's Monday night game is Minnesota at Chicago. I'm not saying the Monday night game before the year, like that was a miserable scheduling thing. But Minnesota at Chicago wasn't a great. It was going to be Cutler versus Bridgewater. I get the NFC North aspect of it, but right now that game looks so bad.
That's what they buy on.
The divisional matchups, absolutely.
And more often than not,
most primetime games are divisional matchups. Most.
Most of them aren't even interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not your division.
The Bears have been in that primetime spot, especially going against the Packers and now Minnesota for how many years now?
This is the third time. This is the third time this year they played the Eagles.
Just this year.
Eagles, Bears were on Monday night.
Come on.
Packers, Bears last week on Thursday night, and now Minnesota at the Bears.
The Bears haven't been interesting in how many years? Like actual, like competitively.
They just played a Thursday night game, and now they're playing a Monday night game. Isn't that interesting?
And we wonder why.
Why can't you flex that? That would be cool if they could flex that. Make
Great,
Monday night
do
game
that.
a cool game, like a different game. You know, if they were able to do that.
Do that.
Last thing I want.
Make it Patriots Bills. I don't care.
Do you have any more football to talk about?
No, my head hurts.
Last thing I want to get into before we get into our picks, the World Series is about to start. By the time this is up, it'll be 2 games in, which is fine.
I gotta shout you out because you had the Cubs from the very beginning, and I said you were foolish back then. This was the preseason picks. I said you were foolish then.
Training, I did. I picked the Cubs.
Yes, you did. I said you were absolutely, out of your mind for that, and I said. Sorry to Michael Wilbon, and to your credit, you and Tony Kornheiser are the only 2 some bitches out here that weren't from Chicago that were going with them. But
yeah, they're good.
You got it.
I'm gonna
stick with it.
I have to because I picked them before the year, and I'm rude. I thought about it as I love the Indians. I like their team. I like the whole Cleveland fan base because of all the stuff that I'm a Philadelphia fan, so I get the pain. But there's something about watching that game on Saturday night and just seeing what Wrigley looked like at the end of that game, and that was them singing that song Saturday night was just it was one of the coolest moments. The Cubs winning the pennant. I'm a sports history buff. I'm a sports nerd. The Cubs winning a World Series in my lifetime.
Be awesome.
To be able to say that I saw the Red Sox and the Cubs win a World Series in my lifetime is something a lot of baseball fans were not able to do. For me to be able to say that, and Theo being the GM, that's something we'll get into if they ever do it. But I'm picking the Cubs. I'm probably rooting for them a little bit. But honestly, if the Indians win it, man, they deserve it. I hope Lindor
got the NBA title.
I hope Lindor, their shortstop, I hope that he becomes a superstar across America in this because the 2 best shortstops in baseball right now are Corey Seager and Lindor, and I'm pretty sure neither of them are legal of drinking age yet. I'm pretty sure they're both 20 years old. It's incredible. They're awesome to watch. Seager's a Dodger, but Lindor is an Indian, and he is amazing to watch. I just hope that he has a great series, even if they don't win it, so that people can learn his name because he's going to be a superstar. Other than that, though, I just hope it's a fun series. I'd like to see it go 6-7 games. If it does go 6 or 7, it goes back to Cleveland, which is absolutely ridiculous. I picked the Cubs before the year because the Cubs are the best team in baseball. And the thing I don't like about
they've proven that up until this point.
I don't like what baseball does with their All-Star game. If you win the All-Star game, you get the home field advantage. So now the Cubs literally, if the Cubs don't win it if they don't win it in 4 or 5 games,
I don't like it.
Even though they had the better record, they will be on the road for games 6 and 7.
Horrible.
It's not fair to them.
That's so.
They play 162 games to figure out who the best teams are, and they had the most wins in the 162 games.
And you depend home field advantage in the World Series on something that maybe 2 or 3 of your players get on, which is the All-Star game. That is horrible.
I'm a Phillies fan. It's not fair that a Philly was literally able to be in that game and determine who got home field advantage.
Stupid.
It's just not.
I don't know. Weird. Go with who has the best record.
Yeah.
Weird. You play 247 games. Go with the team that has the best record.
So Fox wanted people to watch past the 3rd inning because what happens is after the starters get pulled and after the top pitchers get pulled, people were turning the game off. So Fox came to the MLB with a way to try to make it, and that's what they came up with.
Darn. Fox gets the World Series. What the hell are they bitching about?
That's crazy. Anyways,
get the hell out of here. Fox has had the World Series forever, as far as I can freaking remember. So what are they complaining about? Well, we don't have any viewers in the All-Star game. Well, now you fuck up the World Series. Honestly, I don't really have a horse in this race, but I will go with Chicago just because it's a great story. I actually saw on Saturday night, I kept switching to that game, and I saw Chicago win, and you got to be happy for Chicago.
Them singing the song was pretty cool.
Absolutely. You got to be happy, especially like we're big PTIs fans. I was happy for Mike Wilbon. I was happy for
Wilbon as well.
I was happy for all of Chicago and all their fans. I want Chicago to win. So
the last thing about the Indians, I like Francona a lot, their manager. He's one of my favorite people in all of baseball. This matchup's going to be fun because you have Jake Arrieta of the Cubs. Their whole pitching staff is really good. They have all the young guys, and then the managers though of both teams, Madden and Francona. Francona has 2 World Series. Madden has managed in a World Series, so they're 2 powerhouse managers. It's going to be fun. I mean, they're 2 really good teams, great bullpens. I think Indians have a little bit better of a bullpen.
Something that you didn't even bring up. How do you feel about the Chicago bringing back their was it the catcher?
Oh yeah, Swart. Yeah, I like it.
How do you feel about that?
I like that. He played a little bit.
It's kind of weird to me.
My thing is okay. So I don't think they would do it if this was the reason they didn't. Perfect example. The reason they didn't do it the series before against the Dodgers is because against the Dodgers, if he were to pinch hit, he would only get 1 at bat a game. He can actually be the DH because they're going to be playing an AL team.
They were saying they want him to be more than that.
Well, yes, they want in Chicago they want him to catch, but he's going to be the DH for game 1 and game 2. Because the thing is if in the second or third inning he's tightening back up and he can't do anything more than DH, or can't do anything, like if he can't catch, then at least you had the option of him in game 1 and game 2, and then if you need him in game 6 and game 7, you have him there to DH again. I would like to see him play because that lineup is disgusting, and with him in it, it is literally
So if he was so great, why was he missing this whole time?
He tore his ACL in the 3rd game of the year.
Right, which is what I'm saying. To me, the reason why it seems weird from my outsider's perspective is it seems like they just want to be like, okay, we're in the World Series. You know what? Let's give you a nudge. Just throw you in there. We didn't have a hit the entire season. He's part
of the team, though.
That's why it feels like, you're on a team. Let's get you a hit.
Because his best friends are, Chris Bryan and Anthony Rizzo. But I'm saying,
it seems like a sympathy move.
You got Baez, and you got all these other guys who came up through the system with him. They were all in single A, double A, triple A together. To them, he's their brother, and they don't want to win this without. I know what you're saying.
Sympathy move. You just explained a sympathy move.
But you know what?
Is it a team move or is it a sympathy move? Because you just explained to me a sympathy move.
But he's a great hitter. He is a great hitter.
He has been a great hitter all year.
He did well. Obviously, this is the Golden State Warriors.
Well, then why do they need him now?
The Golden State Warriors don't need KD. Why they get him? Because he's worth it. Because he can help, and they think he can help.
KD played a whole year though.
I hear you. I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I
think it seems sympathetic.
I'd like to see him get a couple hits. I actually really like him. He's one of my favorite players on their roster.
I have nothing against it.
I like a lot of the Cubs, obviously. That's why I picked him before the year. So
it just seems sympathetic to me.
Anyways, it is the other thing that I really like is they kept showing the old lady, and I know ESPN's been all about it. I saw a couple pictures in the paper, in our local paper too. That older lady, she looks like she's about 70-some years old. I like seeing those stories.
Yeah.
I'm rooting. At the end of the day, that's probably where my heart kind of falls in with them. But I also picked them before the year. Let's not mention because while we're tooting my horn, because if they win it, I'm gonna act like I know it all and whatnot. But I'll be honest right now, I did pick the Astros to be the team they played, and the Astros didn't even make the playoffs. So they had a good season.
You went out there on both ends.
It's okay.
Speaking of going out there,
getting into our picks, last week was rough. There was a tie. I went 8-7-1.
This is the worst pick 'em I've had on this show.
You went
5-9. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Well, and 1, yes.
5-9-1. Yeah, which is even worse.
So on the
just
season,
give me the L at that point.
I'm 58-49-1.
Oh, for Christ's sake, I'm 53-53. Actually, I think I'd have to recalculate. I think it's 53 and 52-1. Yeah, actually,
good. You're only 5 losses behind me.
I'm only 1 game above 500.
You can do it. You have a whole week to turn that back around.
Man just said you can do it, which is like the Adam Sandler fucking movie where it's like, oh, you really suck, but we believe in you. You can do it. It's been a worse year.
Yeah, but the Waterboy ends up winning.
Yeah, good for him.
So, speaking of bad primetime games, Thursday night we get Jacksonville going to Tennessee. You know what's going to be the best part of this game? The color rush uniforms.
Which honestly, outside of like one team, I haven't been impressed with that. Did you see? Speaking of color rush, did you see Green Bay's last week where they wore the all white?
Oh, it's so stupid. So stupid.
Green. Bay.
Could have been all yellow. Could have been all green.
I'm good with all yellow.
Could have been all green.
I'm good with all green.
Could have been all green.
These sons of bitches wore all white.
All white.
I about threw up. I'm like, are you?
I thought it was
me?
funny.
The Bears, I was like, okay, I'm
all
okay
white
with.
Cleats, all white pants, all white jerseys, except for the numbers.
White.
You can't change the helmet. If the helmet's yellow,
we're
week
all
one
yellow.
with a red with a green face mask, it has to be yellow with a green face mask for the rest of the season. And the NFL won't let you change that. Just remember that.
If they wore all yellow, I'd have been great with it.
$5 billion industry, you can't change your helmets. Okay, don't worry about that.
This is miserable. Who you got? This is disgusting.
Take a guess on who I got.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, of course I got Jacksonville. You?
Of course you do. I don't know why. I have Tennessee.
I have Jacksonville because of Blake Bortles.
And he's been playing horrible.
Not that Tennessee's been playing so great either.
Yeah, but they're more solid.
I think Jacksonville just went up against better competition. Okay, Washington going to Cincinnati. Washington.
This is at 9:30 in the morning. Can we stop this bullshit of this England time zone shit?
So, this is the last one of the season. So,
for the love of God, yo, every time they have a game
I saw
in
a commercial
London,
and it says wake up early 4, and then it because it's the generic. They did that before.
it's the hangover
everyone.
game.
It said wake up early 4, and then it inserted the Redskins and the Bengals, and I laughed because I forgot that they put it. And I said, why would I ever want to wake up early for that?
It's the hangover game. Like, are you kidding?
Why
me?
does London keep showing up for these games? If I was the
Dude,
fans of London,
you know
I would
what's funny?
stop.
Every time you look,
I would
watch,
stop coming. I would stop.
look
coming.
at the highlights. Every time they go to the fans, they're wearing jerseys
Of
of.
other teams. Yeah. Because they're all,
This team came here one time. I like them. I'm gonna buy their jersey.
No,
We will
honestly,
never come here again.
No, honestly, I think they're Americans living over there that are fans of other teams that just want to see live football. I know somebody who's in the military that's
Great.
who he's stationed 200 miles away from London, so he went to I forget what game, maybe the Colts game. Yeah,
I know a couple that
he's a
lived in,
Seahawks fan, but he went to the Colts game this year.
I know a couple that lived in Texas and moved out to England for a little bit, and they didn't go to a game, but they said, dude,
I would have went.
they were like, they
I know.
literally wear anything out there.
Well, yeah.
What? And the stupid is that the NFL actually thinks that they have a market out there. No, you do not. It's not going to work. It's going to be stupid.
I agree
That's a
with
whole
that.
other conversation.
I think they need to
Stop this
these,
shit. Stop this
London
shit.
games.
Who do you got?
Um,
God, who you have for the hangover game? This is what I'm gonna start calling it, the hangover Sunday game. Who you have for the hangover Sunday game?
I can't pick Washington the way they lost their last game. I gotta take Cincinnati.
Heard that, Cincinnati.
Arizona taking on Carolina.
This is very difficult. I actually was thinking about giving Carolina a victory because they kind of need it. I'm going with Arizona.
The 1 o'clock start, I don't believe in it. I'm going with Carolina this week. I can't go with Arizona because I didn't see their offense move the ball at all. Not that Carolina's
they're so
defense is any
miserable.
good. Not that Carolina's defense is any good.
Arizona's so miserable, but when they get together, they look very good. I think they might be able to do it on the road, so I'm going with them.
Seattle taking on New Orleans. New Orleans scores a lot of points in
Another
the
difficult
dome.
one.
Seattle has a really good defense. Their defense has proven to travel. Who are you taking?
I'm going Seattle with their defense. It was very difficult for me because I felt like this was a game set up for New Orleans to win, especially considering how Monday looked for Seattle, but I'm going with Seattle.
I'm not fully convinced that Russell Wilson is healthy, but when healthy against defenses like New Orleans, Russell Wilson tears them up. I'm going Seattle as well. Oakland taking on Tampa Bay. This is the fifth road game for Oakland already this season, and it's the fourth one at the 1 o'clock time slot. This is just completely not fair. Who you taking?
I think it's going to finally catch up with them. I'm going with Tampa Bay.
I'm going with Oakland. I think they go 5-0 on the road,
Really?
4-0 at the 1 o'clock spot. I think that their offense is just so on fire right now. Tampa's also flying from San Francisco to Tampa this last week. Yeah, but Oakland was already on the
defense is absolutely
East Coast.
horrible.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. Tampa Bay's defense isn't all that good either. New England taking on Buffalo. Buffalo let one slip away. I think they were just pre-gaming for New England, honestly, because they should have been able to beat Miami. 212 yards from J.A. Ajayi. He's the fourth running back to ever have 200 yards in back-to-back games.
Shout out to him.
So Buffalo's defense, I never would have thought they would give up 200 yards on the ground to anybody. LaShawn McCoy also pulled a hammy. I think he came back in that game.
Why? Because the Ryan brothers are out there?
No, because they've been playing a lot better. Their front seven was really good. That was the best part of their defense.
Like I say about Philadelphia, eventually it just evens out. We'll give it some time.
So you're taking New England?
Yeah.
I'm taking New England as well. I think Buffalo gets destroyed in this game. I think that Belichick is out to prove something after last time and after Rex Ryan mocked him, and I said I think it would catch up to him. This is where it does. Detroit taking on Houston. Houston, I said I would play scared. I would take every point and punt the ball and everything. Houston's offense is scared to throw the ball down the field. They are play calling ridiculously scared. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Detroit in the situation. Brock looked absolutely miserable, and we were talking about it last year where I was saying, I'm of the type where you take your money when you can get it, but at the same time, he had such a great situation. He had a great defense, and I said stay with Denver, and of course all of Denver's talking shit now, saying, "Oh, you should have stayed." I don't know. We're going to have to see within time, but this past week he absolutely looked miserable, and I think it might continue.
I'm taking Detroit as well. I think Stafford's been one of the best quarterbacks over the last 9 to 12 months. So he's been impressive to watch.
Very good.
And I think Houston's offense just hasn't moved the ball all downfield. The Jets taking on Cleveland. Part of me wanted to give Cleveland their first win of the season. I think that Cleveland actually could go 0-16 this year. I'm taking the Jets.
I'm actually going Cleveland.
I
think this is their.
They got to get one. So.
This is their one opportunity. The Jets look absolutely miserable. The quarterback situation is disgusting. The only thing that's worse is the Cleveland Browns situation. But I'm going Cleveland at home. They have to get one.
The Jets got a lot of yards against Baltimore. They didn't score a lot of points, but they got a lot of yards. I think they convert them into points against a team like Cleveland.
You would hope so. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to be surprised. I just got to give them one.
Kansas City taking on Indy. I was tooting Andrew Luck's horn. I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but I'm taking Kansas City.
This is a difficult one.
It was. I took Kansas City on the basis of I think that Kansas City's defense can shut down everybody on the outside, and I think Kansas City's offense can just score just enough, especially when they get the ball moving through the air because they have three good running backs. When they get the ball moving through the air, they're kind of unstoppable on offense. So I'm taking Kansas City. Indianapolis defense is really bad.
I hear you. I'm actually going to go with Indianapolis. Just on the instinct.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going with.
San Diego taking on Denver. I was so confused on this game. I took Denver.
Really?
But I think that San Diego. But they should have won every game they played in. They won their last two. They beat Denver just 3 weeks ago. I'm taking Denver.
I'm going Denver defensively at home. It should be simple enough. As good as I think Philip Rivers is, I don't think he's going to be enough to go on the road against that top-notch defense, regardless of how good Denver's offense plays.
Everything in my being tells me to do this the exact opposite way than when I'm doing it because Green Bay struggled last week against Chicago. They have struggled all season. I picked against them against Dallas because I think that better teams like Dallas can beat them. I'm taking them to beat Atlanta this week.
This is another very difficult game. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think Atlanta's offense is going to be able to bounce back at home. They've had 2 weeks where questionable calls have caused them. I'm going to go with it.
It was tough.
I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it. It's another instinctive pick. It's nothing that I'm like, I feel 1,000% on, but I'm going with Atlanta.
The game of the week, who would have thought two rookies starting Sunday Night Football? This is one of the best primetime matchups.
That's when you really think of it objectively, that's pathetic.
It was hard for me.
Go ahead, tell me.
To pick the Eagles because I think the Dallas offensive line can push the Eagles around. But
you did.
I do think the Eagles can beat teams that they're not supposed to beat. So of course, for the sake of our show, I took the Eagles because this is Eagles versus Cowboys, and I know you're not going against your boys. So, if we don't have a little rivalry on something, then
I'm going with Dallas. We're coming off of a bye. It's not an obvious situation. I can 1,000% justify it. We're coming off of a bye week. We have a great offensive line. Ezekiel Elliott is a complete monster, and it came out actually the week prior. They were sticking with
Dak at least for this game.
So I think, and too, for the notice, Dallas is a team that you can go with unless you're matching up against like a New England.
This is definitely the two best teams in the NFC East right now, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Without a doubt.
The Eagles played Minnesota last week, coming off a bye. Dallas this week coming off a bye. Giants next week coming off a bye.
So you're saying just because they beat Minnesota coming off a bye, that means that they're going to beat the rest
No,
coming
I'm
off a bye?
saying why that's not fair scheduling wise. Those 3 teams
That's
will
not
have
fair.
extra weeks to prepare for the Eagles.
Is this the Philadelphia conspiracy like the NBA and the 76ers?
No, I don't
They're
think,
out to get the six.
I don't think it's a conspiracy.
Eagles.
I think it's a flaw in the scheduling system that they need to figure out. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen again in the league. I mean, obviously the rarity of that happening again would be very slim.
Like I said, like I keep saying, I don't think anybody in this division is a juggernaut, and I think eventually Dallas is going to get that check. It could be against Minnesota when we eventually play them, but against Philadelphia, I'm going Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. I'd like to see the Eagles front seven match up against the Dallas offensive line. Obviously, the way they protect Wentz is going to be a big deal as well for the Eagles, but I think the Eagles can pull it out. They got to play like they did last week and like they did against Steelers, not like they did against Detroit or against Washington, but we'll see. The Monday night game is not a good one. It is Minnesota playing Chicago. I feel like we both have the same team in this one.
Why do you torture me, NFL?
So you're not taking color.
I'm taking Monday Night Raw.
Sam Bradford.
Taking Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota as well.
Why
I think
is
their
this
defense
even
is going to
why?
shut Chicago down.
Why?
You want to flex?
Why?
What game should we flex into that? Green Bay Atlanta, actually. Green Bay Atlanta would be a great game to flex into Monday night.
That's fine. God, I'm trying to see what else. New England, Buffalo.
Oakland Tampa Bay would be better.
Anything other than Minnesota fucking shit.
That would actually be. I don't disagree.
People are going to be watching the World Series. Ain't nobody watching the damn Bears in Jay Cutler.
There is a World Series game Monday night. So
I'm watching
Chicago is going to be lit. Friday night and Saturday night they have World Series games.
Maybe there's a basketball game on that night. Can you explain to me why?
Not maybe. There's definitely a
Can you
basketball
explain to me why on freaking Wednesday, ESPN, in their first game of the season, they're showing the 76ers?
Joel Embiid taking on Russell Westbrook, man. You have superstar power right there. Now, you know why? Because they thought Ben Simmons. They honestly thought it was going to be the number 1 pick, Ben Simmons. They want to get Westbrook's going to draw ratings no matter what. Westbrook's going to draw ratings across the nation. He's one of the top 5 favorite players across the league. He's loved. Obviously, he should be. So and they thought Ben Simmons was going to be in. Then you got Joel Embiid, star chick for NBA. For people who follow the NBA, there's a lot of people really excited to see Embiid and star chick. They were excited.
Who's
to see.
a lot outside of Philadelphia?
Huh?
Who's a lot?
A lot of the NBA writers and basketball, a lot of the basketball execs. I hear a lot of good things about how people feel about the young players on this team, and a lot of people are excited to see how they play. They don't think they're going to do anything this year, but they're excited to see how they play this year. I'm excited to see how they play all together when Noel and Simmons comes back. But when Simmons before the ankle injury, they were going to try to draw it as Simmons versus Westbrook. I get it, and Embiid as well because people are very excited for Embiid.
That's a primetime game that you want to play as the first game of the year. Though.
The schedule's not really heavy on Wednesday. I'll be honest with you. I think there's only 5 games.
Oh, that must be the story then. That explains a lot more than saying, "Oh, we got a rookie going." Come on now. Ain't nobody trying to see that matchup. Ain't nobody trying to see that matchup.
The Sixers get a lot of play.
TNT is freaking lit, and we're talking about the 76ers got the first ESPN primetime spot.
The Sixers get a lot of conversation on sports talk radio across the nation. I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. They get talked about a decent amount right now. Not that they're going to do it, just people actually believing in, hey, they're not. This is the first year, and
they're not the worst team in the East.
It's not that. No, I wasn't even going there. They might be. I think that Brooklyn's worse than them, but this is the first year because Brooklyn doesn't have their first overall pick, and the Sixers are putting it all into win games. This is the first year that the NBA won't have a team trying to lose games on purpose. Every team is going to be putting 110% effort in.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah. Isn't that exciting? I think that's great for the league. I think the Lakers are going to try to win every game they possibly can. I think that.
I think the Lakers have been trying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
It's just miserable.
But my point is like this is the first year that literally there's not one team that all the bottom 5 teams are all literally going to be trying to fight harder to not.
So that means let's fill a primetime spot.
No, what I'm trying to explain is I think the NBA is going to be more competitive like the NFL.
What I'm trying to say is that NBA, you can do better. TNT schedule is usually pretty lit.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me ESPN, their starting game is OKC without Kevin Durant. Granted, I want to see what Russell does. Versus the 76ers?
The TV
Really?
the NBA TV deal is now every team gets 3 national games. So
That's great. I know for
like the
past...
Sixers will be on TNT this year.
Hell.
The Lakers will too. Though. The Lakers haven't. The Lakers will obviously be. Oh, they're always going to be on it. But
right, but it's still an L. But at least they're a franchise that people are talking about.
But what's a bad? Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you is that people are actually talking about the Sixers right now. Man, I listen to so much sports talk radio. They really are. They really are. Okay, well,
Nobody believes in the 76ers outside of Philadelphia fans that believe that these
they believe
rookies with injuries are going to bounce back and be.
I disagree. I listen to a lot of
the
sports
fucking
talk radio.
Timberwolves
I've heard
out
a lot of
here.
good things. Yeah, they think that in a
I've
couple
heard a lot of
years.
good things for several years.
I heard a lot of good. They say that this year they're going to finally start taking those directions, which I hope so. Anyway, so every team with the new TV deal has 3 primetime games a year. A national TV. Yeah, well, I mean, that's how the players got their 50-50.
All I know is that ESPN for the past several years, I've noticed, has been slacking on their NBA coverage. TNT seems to always get the main big games, and to me, when ESPN opens with OKC versus Philadelphia, that's just a testament of...
TNT always gets the big games because TNT gets the finals. So, because ABC gets the finals, so TNT always gets the biggest regular season games.
Right.
It's been that way for years.
But
it's not like ESPN.
It's not a good look on ESPN.
The Sixers opened the season like 2 years ago. The first year they tanked, they opened the season on ESPN.
I'm glad you finally admitted they tanked.
Well, I knew they were tanking. I told you I fought it for the first 6-7 months, and then I accepted it. And shout out to, speaking of people who were involved with that last Sixers team, shout out to Jrue Holiday. His wife is she's a soccer player for U.S. Soccer, women's soccer, Lauren Holiday. She is pregnant with their kid, and they found out that she had a tumor while right at the beginning of the pregnancy. And so there was a lot of serious stuff going on. He actually quit basketball in the middle of his career now. I guess the Pelicans said they would bring him back at any point if he would like to come back. It was just a couple weeks ago he decided that he was going to quit basketball. I don't think they made it public until about a week or two ago. I didn't read about it until a week or two ago. It wasn't anything huge. It wasn't a huge press conference or anything. He quit basketball to take care of her, and hopefully when their child is born, hopefully mom and baby are healthy, and that's what he wants to do is take care of them. So shout out to him.
Yeah, definitely shout out to both of them.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
I just read it about a week ago or so, but he was easily my favorite Sixer of that time. I mean, I love Andre Iguodala as well, but Jrue Holiday was my favorite player on those Sixer teams. Hopefully everything works out well for them. But that's it for JD Sports. So thank you for watching. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. Follow on Twitter.
Play ball, bitches.